Chicago rapper Polo G has not had the most positive experience with law enforcement throughout the last couple of years. Polo G's LA mansion was raided yesterday by LAPD. We're looking for his brother Trench Baby that they believe Polo G was harboring as a fugitive. Bradford Cohen, Polo G's lawyer, addressed the situation. Polo is being held under the guise that the police department needs to double check that he is not a convicted felon, as there was a purported firearm found in the home. He is not and never was a convicted felon. Any previous charges he had, I got dismissed, and it's all public record. They're also denying myself and my California law partner, Zoe Aaron, access to him while he's being illegally detained. Law enforcement sources tell us that the search warrant was executed in relation to a robbery and 4 suspects have been taken into custody. So what it's seeming like is that they believe that Polo G was responsible for taking care or harboring a fugitive, as they said, his younger brother, who was allegedly involved in a robbery. Now the details are still very limited and this is all alleged. However, using what we were given, we can see that it's looking like Polo G's brother was involved in a robbery, and the police are trying to figure out if the gun at Polo's house belongs to the brother or Polo himself, because we all know firearms or basically stuff like that can't be around felons who've been convicted because, it just goes with the laws and the amendments. The brother posted his own video of basically an entire SWAT team swarming his house.
Bro, the fucking U.S. Marshals got my house surrounded. They got my fucking house surrounded, gang.
California is a very strict gun law state. We saw it happen with Tory Lanez when he was convicted for shooting Megan Thee Stallion, and they gave him 10 years, and we're trying to give him 20 actually. Now with Polo's situation, it is a bit different because they're really just trying to say that they believe a gun was in the house, which is like, this is America. Every American has a gun, whether you're a rapper or not, but obviously they're trying to catch you slipping because as a rapper who most likely does have a prior, legal history running with the law, you most likely can't have guns in your house, but if the ownership is towards someone else, he should be good, of course. Polo G has had proud run-ins with the cops, and it's always went south. In June of 2021, Polo G was arrested in Miami for 5 charges: battery on a police officer, threatening a police officer, resisting an officer with violence, resisting an officer without violence, and criminal mischief. 5 charges that have since then been dropped. This all happened after Polo G had an album listening party celebrating the release of his album Hall of Fame. Now this album had songs like Rap Star, Clueless, Epidemic, and crazy to think it's been already 2 years. Now while they're leaving the party, they got into some incident with police, of course, and they're being followed, which led to them being pulled over and actually arrested. Now Mama Polo G was not playing, obviously, she rocks out for her family, and I can only imagine how infuriated she feels with this new incident right now with both of her sons being arrested at his $5 million mansion in LA. Being a rapper in 2023 is whack. You can't go nowhere without security, especially if you're black and come from a poverty background where you basically have to prove yourself that you're tough even though you're rich. And people always want to test your gangster and basically, put your life on the line. Like, it's just stupid. The heaviest grounds of punishment they can give Polo G would be a gun possession charge by a convicted felon. However, like his lawyer Brad Cohen said, he's not a convicted felon, so they just have nothing to give him. I find it ironic that as soon as Polo G, one of the best rappers of our generation, I could say, under 25, says that he's planning to, retire from the rap game and take it somewhere else because rap is boring, he almost gets arrested, which seems to me like they're causing a whole distraction. Polo G is one of the most gifted rappers, and I know we say that about everyone, like, oh, the lyrics are tough, but like Polo G, Piano G, whatever you want to call it, he been sliding on the beat since day one. I remember he came in with, Effortless, Dying Breed, To Die a Legend. That was his first album in 2019, which, had the Pop Out with Lil TJ remix, which got remixed by Gunna later. Polo G, he was hungry, man. A kid from Chicago came in there, did his thing. He signed to Columbia Records, and he's definitely one of their most biggest assets on the label when it comes to selling out touring. And I feel like Polo G doesn't really drop music that much anymore, which isn't a bad thing because think about it. When there's less access or when the access is limited to a resource, people treat it with more respect. It's like when Drake drops every 2-3 years, you respect it. I can't speak on Kendrick because he drops every 5 years. But what I'm trying to say is Polo G slowing down the tone of his music and actually giving out quality music instead of just forcing something every 6 months to a year is what fans need, because we need actually real music that actually has intricate value. People became so accustomed to trolling Polo G, but once he said he was quitting music, people were giving him all his flowers and respect. Like I said, Polo G is a very serious guy. He's not like DDG on YouTube who's, said he's going to quit YouTube for the 10th millionth time. Like when Polo G says this, I actually believe him, because you got to think, like, all these rappers getting money from other sources, like, they don't really need to rap anymore. Polo G has had all these sponsors with Polo Ralph Lauren and a bunch of other stuff that put him money in his pocket. Rap just allows you to build the likeness of your image. People in the rap industry never make the most of money from songs. I guarantee he's using the likeness from making songs. Diddy has Ciroc. He didn't get Ciroc because he was like the best rapper ever. He got Ciroc because he was a known figure in rap and then transitioned and he has a following. for people who like his music. So then people wanted to buy Ciroc, and he had influence, which is essentially what the whole influencer marketing is in any industry. This police raid happened a few weeks before he happens to release his next album, Hood Poet, which potentially could be his last. Now, artists that signed to major labels tend to put out their most raw style of music in their early years because they're hungry, they're broke, and they gotta go hard to prove themselves. Typically, after the first 2 albums, music does become slightly mediocre because they have money in their pockets, they don't have to go as hard, and for the most part, most of their hurtful or traumatic stories that would have gained them an audience was already told through multiple different songs, so it's almost like there isn't as strong as appeal for the listener. I hope you didn't forget, because I did. I remember all the Piano G, the Polo G mid insults, and all the type of stuff that I never agreed on because it's a take that I refuse to believe. I feel like if anything, he's only gotten better throughout the years and more selective with what he puts out, hence why he hasn't released an album in the last 2 years. And when you get older, when you get wiser, you gotta be specific and think, what type of image do you want to show yourself? Do you want to keep portraying this gangster lifestyle till I'm 40? Or do you want to show that, hey, yes, I lived that lifestyle growing up, but I got money, changed my situation, I'm in an LA mansion, and now I just want to go up in a positive way that won't put me in harm's way. Whenever the topic of a Chicago Mount Rushmore is brought up, I always feel like Polo G could or should be fourth or an honorable mention because, like I said before, you got Chief Keef, Lil Durk, King Von, and G Herbo, and that's from the street rapper's perspective. Obviously, maybe you can switch one of those guys in for G Herbo, or maybe you feel like Von, but Polo G's up there, man. Like, don't get it twisted, man. A lot of times, if people are humble and quiet, like how Polo G is, not really talking your ish on the internet, people overlook you a lot. It's like you be humble, you be doing your numbers, you be out the way. But a lot of times when you don't demand your respect, people will overlook your success and overlook your respect.